Well, welcome everyone to Lofty Talk, and we're talking about empathy and breath work, and how the breath helps us to connect to the right now moment. And through yoga, we learn about pranayama, which is the conscious breath, which is recognizing the breath as often as you can. And the poses, the asanas that we go into, are to help us create a difficulty in life. We're also pushing past boundaries. We're controlling everything about our body that we can control at that moment, and we're controlling our breath. Because you're only going to be able to hold a pose for so long when you're not fueling your body. And so when you breathe the right way, you're oxygenating your body, you're providing the fuel necessary for your muscles to work. So I've brought two of the chapters of the book I'm writing, and they're probably not in their final edited phase, but so I'll go ahead and read it, and then we can discuss each of the topics. So I think that would be the best way to run this. So breath. Have you learned to shift your breath? As soon as you feel pulled from a calm, centered feeling, remembering to breathe consciously rather than compulsively helps you to control your autonomic nervous system. In turn, it puts you in a space that you can control your thoughts, your actions, your expression to the world. Shift the breath, shift your thoughts, shifts the experience. Shift the breath to breathing slowly in through your nose, filling the lower abdomen first, allowing it to fill into the chest, just to the point you feel full. Holding it for a moment, and then releasing it effortlessly through your mouth. As you breathe in, think of it as life energy, life experience. Energy, the inner chi, the air we breathe is what gives us life. Notice the coolness of the breath as it flows through your nostrils, past your sinuses, and into your belly. Be grateful that you're able to do this. Many are denied this experience daily. An example, death. As the breath is held for a moment, you quickly realize that what gave you a desirable experience with some time becomes seemingly toxic to you. Imagine this is a life experience that is no longer beneficial for you. So you release it with love and thankfulness, effortlessly, letting things go that no longer serve you. A gentle pause after you've released the breath promotes a sense of appreciation for the next life experience. Slowing your breath over a series of breaths is the goal, not in a way of struggle, but rather through conscious expression of calmness. Anger is sometimes a trigger for people to lose their awareness of their breath. Anger stems from frustration, of not knowing how to handle a certain stimulus. Not knowing is okay. It's opportunity to realize a blockage or an ignorance that empowers us to bring our awareness towards seeking a solution. Perhaps to gain new skills of self-mastery. It would be the worst kind of slavery if symbols or words from someone somewhere else can affect your peace. Giving your environment that kind of control over you can be counterproductive to what you are here to experience. If someone else is making you angry, realize I can't control them. I won't let them control me. I have the power to control how I respond to them. Ask yourself, as you shift your breath, what am I supposed to learn from this experience? Is there any truth to what they're saying? Sometimes people teach us things we don't wish to, that we wish to no longer give them any of our time, or that their problems are not mine. Perhaps they teach us courage to step away from a toxic relationship. Sometimes it's humor. This jackass doesn't even know who they are messing with. There may be times that we just have to let the clowns be clowns. Choosing wisely if we want to give our energy as an admission to their circus. This promotes shifting our thoughts to gratitude. There's always something to be grateful for. At the minimum, I'm breathing and a chance of doing what I want to do in this vessel right now. Right now, I'm exactly where I feel I should be. And if I wasn't, I would start putting my feet in front of each other until I'm there. Many people lose their breath each night because the energy has been depleted. And I wasn't one of them. Woo-hoo. One of the best tools I can suggest is remembering to breathe by writing it in your best, most intentional way on the web of your hand between your thumb and pointer finger with a Sharpie. It's an in-your-face reminder that when I control the breath, I control my thoughts, and therefore my experience. If you need further assistance, we can talk about scenarios where maybe we start a hyperventilation. You know, sometimes people are, when we're told of a death of a family member, or when we're told of anything, you know, a police officer comes up to us and I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, now my heart rate is elevated, and you know, anyway, controlling the breath helps us to control that right now moment. And you know, there's been a lot of authors, they talk about the right now moment, and it's best found when we learn how to meditate. And meditation, when I first started learning how to meditate, I put in like a guided meditation on YouTube, and I'd get nice and comfortable, and then it wasn't too comfortable to sit up, so I would lay down, and then I'd be nice and comfortable, and then 4 hours later I'd wake up and I'd be like, okay, I guess it's time to practice that again. You know, but I realized I was tired, and the meditation was putting me in a state that I was like, okay, time to check out. But with practice, we learn how to check in that quiet space. And so it gets to be easier and easier when we learn how to meditate. And then the biggest jump in my meditative experiences has been when I was talking to a monk. And he says, people will tell you that 20 or 30 minutes is really hard to try to find that time and that peace to be able to meditate. And he's right. But if they tell you that they don't have 1 second to take care of their mental and physical health, they're full of crap. Because it's always that 1 second that's happening. And we're always breathing in that 1 second. The average respiratory rate for a person is, I believe, right around 50 to 60 respirations a minute too. No, maybe it's not that high. No, it's pretty high. But when we can slow our breath, we can get our respirations down into the single digits per minute. And when we do that, we're super concentrated on the slowness and steady draw of the breath, the experience that we're bringing in. We're focused when we're holding the breath, and we're recognizing that when we've oxygenated our body, we don't need that respiratory rate of somebody that's walking around or exercising. We've oxygenated our body, we're sitting in a relaxed, calm way. Our muscles aren't using any energy. So it's just our brain. And that can be handled so peacefully. We become meditative in a way that we're not even really connected to the body anymore. And there's a lot of different books and different people experiences that you can transcend the body. It's like astral travel or astral projection. And realizing that this is our body to use in this physical environment, but it's not a cell that we're restrained to. That's what meditation helps us get to. So that 1 second meditation, every time you recognize yourself leaving that moment, remember to breathe in. Breathe in. What can I control about right now? I can control my thoughts. I can control my perspective if I'm aware of right now. And so when I shift my perspective, usually I can find the opportunity of growth. And when we can find the opportunity of growth, that's finding the asset of every situation. So, life is full of assets and liabilities. There's things that help us. There's things that take away our energy. When we focus on the ways something has helped us, we're always growing. Any questions on the breath work? We'll actually be experiencing. Actually, you know what? I'd like to bring everybody into a guided meditation if you'd like. If you're open to that. Okay? So, with our feet flat on the floor, our spine is straight. Chin is parallel to the ground. Bring your palms upward, resting on your thighs or on your knees, wherever that's comfortable, and you find a balance. Shoulders are pulled back. Breathing in slowly through the nose, taking to the lower abdomen first and into the chest. Holding on to it for a moment and releasing it effortlessly through the mouth. Feeling that cold air come in through the nose. And the hot air leave through the mouth. One more, nice and deep. Letting go. Wiggling your toes for a moment and then relaxing your feet. Relaxing your ankles and calves, finding that balance. Your knees and your thighs. Balancing into your pelvis. Relaxing your hips. Breathing in through the nose. Letting go. Wiggling your fingers for a moment. Relaxing your hands. Your wrists, your forearms. Your elbows, your upper arms, and your shoulders. Breathing in calmness and peace. Letting go of any stress. Focusing on the breath. Relaxing all the way through your torso. Finding that balance with your head. Trusting in your foundation. Releasing any tension from your face, your jaw, your cheeks, your eyes, and your ears, your temples. Breathing in, letting go. To become aware of 4 parts of the breath. You breathe in that life experience. Hold on to it for a moment until it becomes toxic and no longer beneficial to our growth. And we let it go effortlessly. A gentle pause at the bottom helps to promote appreciation of the next life experience. Scanning your body, letting go of any spots of stress, tension. Paying attention only to the breath. It's taking you deeper and deeper. Four-part of breath, we recognize how life and death is happening with each breath. We take in this life experience. We do the best that we can with it. And we let it go. Life is a series of right nows. When we're conscious to them, we build a life of right now moments that we're quite proud of. Little room for regret. circular movement of breath. Effortlessly moving through the breath. Nice deep breath in. Breathing out, rubbing your fingers together, wiggling your toes a little bit. Breathing in, opening your eyes when you feel comfortable. Breathing in, all the way back to the space. And that calm, peaceful feeling that I hope you felt is available to you always. I guided you into it, but it was created within. Concentrating on the breath, recognizing what we can control and when we can control it, creates simplicity in our life. That's why the Buddha, when he sat, he went to the forest for like 6 years, and the story goes, and to get away from society's conditioning or influence. And when he found samadhi, found bliss, he just laughed and laughed and laughed, because he's like, I had it all the time. I had it available to me all the time. But it took me leaving the stimulus of my environment to be able to find it again. Because our society has been shaped in a way that promotes stress, it promotes struggle, it promotes dis-ease. And when people are in stress and struggle and dis-ease, they fight against each other, they hurt each other, they're easier to control because they're being manipulated. But when we have a conscious thought, and we're all able to hold that pleasantness with each other, and we realize that power right now, we step into a beautiful tomorrow. And so we don't need a revolution. We need a revolution, a consciousness. And that consciousness happens being aware of the breath. That's why I quit plumbing and started teaching yoga and meditation and permaculture, is because I realized that plumbing was a want that I was helping people achieve, for their homes or businesses. That consciousness is a need. And with that consciousness, all the other stuff happens too. But without it, how long will it? We're not living very sustainably as a whole. It's possible. All of the problems that we face in the world are actually solutions for other things. The plastic in the oceans. People are picking them up. They got barges that are just sweeping up the oceans basically. What do we do with all that plastic? There's many things we can do with it. We can turn it into fuel. We can turn it into Lego blocks that could build homes. We can take plastic bottles and fill them full of dirt. They become a brick that becomes a house. There's so much that can be done with the products that we have in our world. But people aren't yet conscious to their right now moment. And so when we just throw something away that could be used in another way, we create it as a liability rather than an asset. And so that's basically, it's like Buddha spent 6 years in the forest. We spent 15 minutes here at Lofty Talk. But we're recognizing what these teachers have brought us through their examples.
I have a question.
Yes.
You started with the breath and then hold it, and then you went into make it a circular. What's the difference? Why?
Okay. Yeah, with the 4-part breath, it's helping us to recognize the phases of that circle, and it's bringing out the points of it.
Okay.
So we're recognizing the breath coming in as that life, the holding of the breath as the experience of life in that moment. As we're releasing it, we're letting it go, and it's like a river, like a river of life. If we try to dam it up, it becomes too much to hold on to, and that's holding on to trauma or experiences, memories of the past, and we're trying to hold on to things instead of letting them go. Finding the benefit of it, experiencing it for a moment, and letting it go back. And when we're aligned with nature, that's what yoga teaches us, in union. And we don't hold on to it anymore. We let it go.
Up at Erica Flint's, we did that a lot. And of course, we were doing self-hypnosis and using that same method. And also, I used that with Barbara Wright. Her and I would do that at her house before we started channeling and stuff. But it's very effective.
It gets you into that right now.
Yeah, it does.
And when you're in that right now, bliss. I mean, I'm in a lucky environment at Hawks Haven where even during the middle part of the day when you come to Yakima and everything is just really happening, nothing's happening out there. I mean, the goats are walking around, the chickens might be, squawking around. It's really a different experience that I have out there. So I'm able to be in that right now moment often. I live a lot. I live aligned with nature in a way that I'm more in like the circadian rhythm of life, where when I'm tired I go to sleep just like the dogs. When I'm not, I wake up, and I keep my schedule of things like this to come and participate in. But time, I used to wear a watch all the time, and now I don't have a clock in my home. I guess the one on the stove, but it doesn't dictate my life anymore. I don't have lunchtime or dinner time. Am I hungry or am I not? I've taken away the ideas that are pushed on us and tried to find how I would be without the influence.
Well, the thing is, animals eat when they're hungry.
Exactly.
And that's something we teach with, hypnosis with, the weight loss is also America teaches is that we eat when we're hungry. It's not to steal noon morning and have that big breakfast. It's because that's the rest of the world. The animals, they eat when they're hungry.
Right. Yeah.
And if you took a young born child, they will, when they're hungry, they let their moms know they're hungry.
Yeah.
But then we get fixated into the fake world, I call it.
Sugar.
Yeah.
Sugar. We get a sugar high.
Yeah.
Then we're addicted.
Well, but animals are in nature typically fasting too in between meals.
Absolutely.
And when we have breakfast time, lunch time, dinner time, and now fourth meal, I think Taco Bell advertises that, right? A fourth meal, because at 11 o'clock at night, that's when we should be loading up on.
Well, they hypnotize you on them.
Yeah.
They know how to do the commercials.
Oh, man,
it's so
yeah.
Interesting how that is, but and the brain how it receives that.
Yeah. It's like I didn't even know I was hungry right now, but I got to go to Taco Bell.
Yeah.
It's like, wait a minute, what just happened?
Yeah. Yeah. What just shifted back there?
Subliminal suggestion.
Yeah.
And when it's consistent, it imprints. And so it's amazing that so many people are seeing things a certain way when we have so much television programming happening. So.
Well, I love what you were saying about when we have fear or get pulled over by a policeman or anything like that. And what is the first thing you do? You hold your breath.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
We just shut everything off.
Yeah.
Now we went into the fear instead of the love, and that's a great point.
Because when you realize, I recognize I've lost my breath. Remember to breathe.
Yes.
You shove it all the way down. You've empowered yourself. You're like, okay, I'm not doing anything wrong. Why did I just think that? Oh my gosh, because I got pulled over, that my breath should be up here.
Yeah.
I spent well, it's a few hours anyway, in a very tense situation. And if I would have thought of it and really paid attention to my breathing, I bet you that would have gone a whole lot better than it did.
You can recognize
absolutely.
Yeah.
what you can, you can recognize what you can control of it, and I don't know what it was. That's not necessarily important. It's recognize what part can I control right now.
And knowing that I'm feeding into it too, when I'm not.
Right.
Paying attention to my breath and paying attention.
You can be much more calculated when you're calm.
Yeah.
So I mean, you could recognize an opportunity if it was, and you see some people are abducted or kidnapped and stuff like that, right? And you might recognize an opportunity that you wouldn't if you're in fear. But if you're in that calm state, you can recognize an opportunity, you can seize it, and you can act most efficiently. I was recently teaching meditative technique breath and stuff to YPD, Pacific Northwest University. We had 35 law enforcement officers come in for the class and help them recognize that when we control our breath, we can control that right now response. And I was actually able to demonstrate it because I went on a ride-along with them, and we ended up in an altercation where they were trying to take a guy into custody, and the guy didn't want to go. And so when they were fighting with him, the guy's girlfriend, she got involved. She drove one of the officers off. I mean, it was a big deal. This guy, he's like a fire monkey. I mean, feet and arms just everywhere. So I'm like, oh, okay, I guess it's time for me to help too. So when I grabbed the guy's arm, twisted it up, they went to the floor, and then helped the other officer take care of the one guy that was really flipping out until the other officer got back. And everybody in that was like this,
Oh, yeah.
except me. I've been in several fights and stuff in my past, but being able to be calm by being aware of the breath. I was able to scan the room. Told one guy when I was walking over, I'm like, don't do that. And then the guy just kind of stopped, like, okay, I guess I'm not going to do that. He was going to kind of join in. And I went over and I helped him out. But when we got back out of the squad car, the cop was still kind of like excited about it. I'm like, this is the perfect opportunity of why I'm here. Breathe in through your nose, focus on that breath, breathe it all into your belly. And in 3 breaths, you went from to, holy shit, wow, I'm calm again. And he says, and part of the benefit of this, well, obviously, there's many benefits of it, but for the individual experiencing that, when we have a high, an intense situation, we get adrenaline pumping through our system. If we don't use the physical engagement or physical activity that was meant for that adrenaline to complement, it turns toxic. And so then, cortisol, and it starts to build as dis-ease in our bodies from not living in a natural environment, and they're always having to deal with people. They're regularly having to deal with people at their worst. And so if they can maintain their best through being calm, being present, and being aware, everything benefits.
Well, it was kind of like a couple weeks ago when I was speaking, we were recording, and the thing is, when I mentioned how I was at my best.
Right.
How did I react? How did I feel? How calm was I? How was I breathing? And then the times that I was not so at my best. I can take like the tennis court. Everything was racing. My breathing was faster than it needed to be. Everything was, I wasn't taking my time, wasn't more calm and more in the zone. And that can be with studying. Just going in and trying to study something.
Setting up your environment. If it's not working in one environment, your environment. There was a time that it did work, and what was that? Maybe less distractions.
If we're doing it in one area, we're doing it in other areas. We just don't notice it as much because that one stands out more than the other in our thoughts. But breathing is so important, Rob. That's so great what you're doing.
Thank you. Well, here's part 2.
Good.
So we're going to talk about another really important topic that I feel that if people had a different awareness of it and the benefits that we can gain from it, that I think is going to help the people of the world that are here to help. It'll help them do it in the most beneficial way for themselves and those around them. So we're going to talk about empathy. An enlightened empath is one who doesn't suffer from the gift they possess, as it's not a curse or limitation. An empath is simply someone capable of experiencing and hopefully using productively the gift, tool, power of empathy. Knowing how to plumb a house doesn't make my association of what and who I am limited to being a plumber. It's something I hold the ability of, not who I am. We are so much more than these titles. It should not be necessary to alert others to our gifts. Be careful what you say or do around me. I'm an empath. I'm going to, that's kind of what we experience sometimes when other people are not handling themselves, and we can feel it. And when we're feeling what they're suffering, sometimes we don't even know what we're suffering. We just know that we're suffering, and we know that it's likely due to somebody else. But we don't want to give them that power over us. So what I do in that instance is, when I sense myself leaving that calm state, of peace, and just recognizing gratitude, I ask myself, is this mine? And if it's not mine, if it's not self-created, and I don't know why I started feeling that way, I have to recognize it's somebody else's. And if it's somebody else's, it shouldn't bother me. It's alerting me. So it's about being aware and going, why am I feeling sad right now? Oh, that person looks like they just lost somebody. Maybe they're across the room sitting by themselves. Then we take that as a choice of action or inaction, because simple thoughts heard out loud, or as little simple things that we can tell somebody, can really shift the way they're experiencing it. So I jumped around a little bit here, but we only need to learn to control the gift, so it's not a burden to ourselves or others. A tool of protection, I suggest, when you feel suddenly burdened or bumped from your space, imagine a light within your heart expanding with each deep breath sequence. With each breath, the light extends above your head, below your feet, and beyond your reach. With each breath, your circle of light maintains your peaceful place. It's like a big orb around you. To use the gift of empathy for your highest benefit, it is wise to ask yourself when experiencing an emotion, is this mine? Oftentimes the answer is no. It is your environment attempting to imprint on your thought processes, your energy motion, your emotion, your direction of emotion. If we fail to recognize this source of it, it promotes subconscious imprinting and experiencing these emotions as your own, oftentimes in a less than favorable way. When we consciously shape our programming, we shape our mind, body, vessels, reaction into one of strength and perseverance, with the ability to assist others more efficiently. What am I supposed to do with this feeling? Perhaps looking around, seeing who might be experiencing what you're feeling. You don't have to bear their burdens, but sometimes a few words can change a person's life. Simple thoughts and suggestions heard out loud can shift the course of humanity. This is using your gift to help others. It's your free will choice to use discernment and releases action or choice of inaction. Here are some tools that help you maintain a calm, centered, peaceful way of being. Breathe and center yourself. If the stimulus you don't desire is coming from someone else, a simple mantra: not my circus, not my clowns. Deep in breath through the nose, noticing the feeling of the air rushing in, holding for a moment and releasing effortlessly that which no longer serves you. It is ultimately the empowered empath's choice on which thoughts and emotions they choose to entertain. If you walk into a room with a lit candle when everyone is sitting in the dark with theirs, extinguishing yours to match theirs would be counterproductive. It takes nothing from a lit candle to light others, illuminating the possibilities of expansion. To conserve your energy while empowering others, encourage them to step forward and light their candle to yours, rather than shouldering their burdens. This way they're following your path. You're not carrying them. This is the most productive and ensures the light spreads with ferocity as enlightenment is experienced. Be the light, not the life jacket. Work to shape your environment through your being. Be in it, but not shaped by it. Realize that we can lead by example, but not expectation. Individually, we control ourselves. The impression we make on others can inspire change. I hold peace in myself because that's what I can control. As more people hold peace in their self and what they are willing to support, our collective experience will become one apiece. So we keep hoping for things to change outside of ourselves, but if we don't present what we want in the world, how does the world know how to respond? I mean, if we're giving a better idea, if I start carrying around this vessel that holds onto water instead of everybody else just holding on to what they can carry in their hand, I don't have to force people into an idea of carrying a cup. They look at it and I go, that's way easier. Why aren't we all doing that? Because it's something simple. It doesn't require force, fraud, or coercion because it's a good idea. And so that's, any questions on empathy?
I'd like to say something that I learned when I was a taxi driver, and I was learning about my empathy at that time. And what I learned is that when there's two people will naturally resonate together. They'll start out at different levels of where they're at, stress levels, say. And the strongest of the two people, the other one will resonate too. So if you got somebody who's like wild and crazy and, like all stressed out, and that's the stronger of the two, the other one will get that way. Because it's just natural that they resonate with each other. And what I learned to do was when people would come into my cab, say they are all stressed out, I would hold that calmness. I would do it intentionally. Just hold that I may not say a word, but hold my own to be stronger than theirs. And it was amazing to see almost every time they would come down and they would come and match.
Their transformation was happening because you were providing an example.
And I was providing the stronger example.
Yeah.
And they would resonate to me.
Yeah.
And even if nothing was said, they would leave there in a better position than when they got in.
Your circle of light was bumping into theirs, and
and they wanted me to come up to them,
Yeah.
and it's like, and then they would start coming down to me, and it would happen every time.
It's so true.
We disempower what we don't give our energy to. What we think about, we bring about. And so, if we witness something that we don't want to be experiencing, but we start giving our energy to that, we're doing it. We're serving two masters, or we're trying to serve two masters, and it doesn't work.
There's lots of times that in those situations that it's just us being there and being, I feel, and nobody needs to know anything what's going on, and we don't even know at times, and all of a sudden everything just shifts. And then that was something I learned from Barbara Wright, to really be honest, and I used it in club methods and stuff like that, and then all of a sudden it's just about us being there. It could be a unity, you being there. Nobody needs to really know, and you're not even trying to do it, but it's just kind of become, the universe is bringing it, and you're sending it out there, love and light in some ways, I do.
And it's contagious.
It is.
Because when a person starts to recognize it, I haven't seen that person mad. It's like I've never seen them stressed out. How do they do that? And once you recognize and practice the simple breath and recognizing what can I control, when can I control it. The past is gone. We can remember things, but if we're suffering our memory, we're suffering something that doesn't exist anymore. Tomorrow doesn't even exist yet. And so if we're worried about something that might happen tomorrow, we're suffering our imagination. It doesn't even exist yet. But right now is an ever-evolving state of existence where we have power. And if we're consciously aware of it, we're always acting in that right now. And we're working in the way we find most favorable.
How we act right now is how our future is, because we're developing our
building
future
it
right now. In
Yeah.
this moment.
Yeah, the choices we make.
Yeah.
And then the choices we make is the karma we return, is returned to us. It's like the results. And if we're consistently moving in a good direction, usually good things are coming back to us.
And the emotion that you have creates that same thing coming back too.
Yeah.
So I know somebody who's angry a lot, and he just seems to run into other angry people.
Right. Oh yeah.
But it's so interesting. Sometimes like you're having a conversation, it's just if you get that things going, you see how that kind of just goes, and then you know that everybody's kind of got that energy when it's starting to go there, and before it's like this, and then all of a sudden everybody in the room is just a nice flow, and then the energy is going, and then where everybody's going to go at that point. I feel. But it's interesting when you say the impasse, because basically what I've always known was that 20% of the population are empaths. But the 20%, over 80% of them come to work with someone like Rob or me or somebody else. They're drawn to us for
guidance.
Guidance.
How do I handle this?
Yeah, how
I'm
do I
aware
handle
of
it?
all this
They
around
come,
me.
They seek us, and
Yeah.
that's the interesting how that all works in the world in a way.
Let me tell you one more thing that I learned, again, driving taxi, and this was really powerful for me. I don't know all the details, so I'm going to leave out a lot of details, but I had to go pick up a package from a person, and I couldn't, it was in downtown Portland, I couldn't park, I was mad. No, it started by picking up the package from the person, and the person was stressed or angry or something, but had an emotion or feeling that really threw me off. But I didn't really know what was going on at the time, and I had to deliver that package to a construction site in downtown Portland where I couldn't park, and then and somebody got mad at me because I did park, and I'm trying to get it to this, and so I'm mad, and I'm yelling at somebody who's yelling at me because of parking, and I'm just trying to deliver the package, and then it went from there. I got the package delivered, went to my next customer, and I was still mad, and that customer got mad, and it really got so obvious that one person, I carried that anger and I spread it out to several other people.
Like snowball effect.
Yes, and I was causing disharmony in many people in that town because I was a carrier of one person. I didn't know at that time that I got it from someone else, and I didn't know how to get it out of me. I didn't even know what was going on at the time.
Imagine how that's happening generationally in homes. We've got parents who don't know how to handle their self, raising children who don't know how to handle their self because their environment's not teaching them the tools. And so we start getting into more and more people who don't know how to handle themselves. And so, but all this is capable of being shifted through awareness.
Through awareness, yes, just through awareness.
Yeah. So that's what we're in. Is we're in a revolution of consciousness, and the events like you're going to, and all these speakers are coming together. This is helping to shift the world. And then, you know, resources like YouTube. I mean, like we're
Yeah,
sharing this.
everything's so awesome.
Yeah, this could be shared all across the globe. If somebody was like, wow, that was pretty enlightening talk, that was a lofty talk, I want to share it. They hit the button, and it goes to however many people keep hitting the button. You know, that's where when I was young, if you wanted to try to globally communicate, you better have a really, really good job and be willing to spend all your money on that 3 minutes of TV time. Whereas now, anybody with a Wi-Fi connection and a smartphone can communicate to the globe. And that's how these messages can all be shared, because teachers aren't so focused on making money, they're focused on helping people. And, you know, sharing it on YouTube, you don't make enough money. I mean, you know, some people are profiting off their YouTube channels, but it's about just getting information out there.
Well, really, podcasting is where the future is right now. I know the guy's doing YouTube TV that runs it, but the whole thing is podcasting is really where this is at, and then building an audience. And yes,
Next week I'll be on the Michael Bastinelli show.
Oh, good, good.
He was a local.
I know
he's
Mark.
doing his own podcast now.
Yeah.
Podcast is all audio, isn't it?
It's going to change.
You
It's
can
starting
do
to change
video
now.
podcasting as well.
Okay.
You know, like Joe Rogan. I know he does video podcasting, and basically it's just the video on watching people talk.
Yeah.
But you can see their, I guess you can see their physical, you know, involvement. You know, more like a talk show.
Yeah, because down the road, what I'm going to do a podcast where it's going to be all about spirituality and helpfulness, you know, and hopefully Rob will be on there.
I'd love to.
We interview, you know, and if Rob, you have one that you want me to come as a guest, I'm glad to
Absolutely.
be on there, you know, but it's about spreading that word, and podcasting is really where the future is going to be, really spreading the word more than even, I believe, YouTube or any of them that we're doing right now.
Right.
There's so many people doing this, and we're just seeing the tip of it.
Well, and when we're sharing on these, you know, platforms and, you know, these tools, we're gaining the tools to be able to say it most efficiently. Because, you know, the simplest statements are the most powerful. The shortest sentence in language is I am. And what we put after I am shapes our world, shapes our experience. And so when we're able to communicate to somebody, and you can reduce it down to the root of what that communication is, that's where it's most receptive, because it's not a lot of blah, blah, blah. It's a, oh, wow, that's truth. Oh, I feel that is truth. You know, it's a consistent flow of, I'm willing to accept that as a new way of being, you know.
Well, put it this way, when you say the I am enough, like I said.
Right.
Okay, let's say there's a guy out there, and he keeps buying things. He's got a lot of money, he's successful, but he's angry all the time, and he always buys something. It doesn't matter if it's clothing, a car, or another house, or anything. This example is because they don't feel that they're enough. And so they're
Still seeking the happiness.
still seeking the avenue. So I know a person who's buying trucks all the time. I mean, very expensive trucks, so because and feel he's what he's really seeking is he's seeking love.
Right.
But he's not found love because he's pacifying with that instead of breathing and you know, I am enough.
When we recognize that I am enough, that love, that happiness, it all comes from within us. Once it comes from within you, it can't be taken away. You know, when we're seeking it from an outside source, that truck, it gets a dent in it, or somebody steals it, or, you know, happiness is out the window. If we go into a relationship expecting somebody else to provide that happiness to us, they're going to get tired of you always sucking up energy, and they're eventually going to be like, wow, I need a boundary here. And if you're not okay with boundaries, it's a problem for both people. You know, it becomes a relationship at that time. You know?
That's good.
So,
It's kind of like should is shit.
right, yeah. So,
Very Thank you.
So, any other questions about it? Or? We're going to shut it down so then we can continue our conversation.
Awesome.